Hey, welcome back. Happy Monday. We had court last week, some interesting pleas that came through. There were quite a few. We'll usually do about 20 in the morning each day and 20 in the afternoon. So you're moving about 40 warrants per day. If we have a good week, it would be somewhere around 200 warrants. But obviously we don't report on each and every one of them. Here's a couple where both of them are drug cases. A North Myrtle Beach woman was sentenced to 12 years in prison for drug charges. Her name is Brandy Dyer, 39, of North Myrtle Beach. She got a 12-year sentence. That was a second offense for her with possession with intent to distribute meth. Also, the very next day, on May 16th, Alan Christopher Hicks, 40 years old, of Myrtle Beach, pled to a first offense of manufacturing meth. First offense, and he had a stolen handgun and several other things that went along with that. He received 15 years in prison for all of his charges. Manufacturing meth, distribution of fentanyl, and possession of a pistol. So we get this quite a bit, that drug charges seem to get a lot more time, and there's quite honestly people that are frustrated with that. So often, the way that our legislators wrote the laws, drug offenses are anything past the first offense carries more time for a second, more time for a third, whether it's possession or distribution, or the highest level is trafficking. So it would not be unusual to have mandatory minimums on these cases, which means the judge is limited, like for possession with intent to distribute, third offense, it might be mandatory minimum 15 years and a maximum of 30 years. So the judge would have to give a 15-year sentence, and a lot more stuff goes in it. You see where this young lady got 12 years for a second offense, and Hicks, young man, got 15 years for a first. But he had guns involved also. There's also times that people will be charged with other crimes that are harder to prove. And I've often said that, we are here to protect the citizens of Horry and Georgetown counties. And sometimes that may mean if you've got a distribution second, where you can get plenty of time on it, and then you've got a failure to stop for a blue light where a person was just driving very reckless. Well, the most that carries is up to 3 years for failure to stop for a blue light. And even though they may have put people in danger, if we get a 12 or a 15-year sentence on the drug case, he's still going to be away for longer than we could have gotten, even at the maximum of the other charges. So a lot of times that plays into account. There's so many times that if you just read it, you could say, well, this lady got more time, or this guy got more time, and that had something to do with it. There's so many different things that come into play. And part-time, that would deal with people that have other charges that we don't even list here, but we can get more time here, so we try to do that. We try to gauge who is the biggest danger to the community, and how do we protect the community through the tools that we've got in the toolbox. Drug classifications are a big tool. So you may very well, if it's a first offense and you've never broke a dish, you may see a drastically different plea deal than you would if a person can't go to the grocery store without firing a gun. So often what happens is we can't get any of those people to come in and testify. Sometimes it's gang related, sometimes it's gang on gang, and the other side won't come in and testify. But if we've got drugs, and it's a second or third offense, then we can make an appropriate suggestion to the judge as to what the time should be. And that carries a lot of what you've got in your past history and what you may have been charged with in other cases. So it's all there, and I've never said we get it right 100% of the time. But I just tell you, it's easy to jump and say, well, one beside the other, surely this person got treated differently. Sometimes they do, sometimes it's a different judge. But most of the time there's a rationale to the situation, and there are other charges that may not have gone forward. And that happened last week, but coming up this week, the same thing will happen. And we will be here next Monday to address some of those. But sometimes it takes a little deeper reading than what we may want to do. Anyway, have a great week, and we will update you at the end of this week. Be careful. There's a lot of bikes on the road.